ABC News contributing political correspondent and Politico's Capitol Bureau Chief Rachel Bade is joining me now from Capitol Hill as well. Good to see you. And so, look, we know that President Trump has been holding meetings with Republicans throughout the week. What do we know about what's coming out of those meetings?
Hey there, Kana. Good to be with you tonight. Basically, you can classify these meetings two ways. The first one is charm offensives, and the second one is strategy sessions. The meeting he had today with 3 House Republicans up on the Hill, it's definitely the first category. These are moderate Republicans from districts that Kamala Harris actually carried. So these are folks who are going to be a little skittish about voting on some of the agenda items that he wants to move through the House, concerned potentially about political blowback. The idea is to get some face time with these members so that when he calls them to twist their arm to vote for something, they will do it. The other sort of category of meetings that I mentioned is these strategy sessions. I mean, the reality is that Speaker Johnson and Majority Leader Thune in the Senate, they have actually been on very divergent paths in terms of actually passing Trump's agenda. They have been wanting to meet with him so that he can sort of crack the whip and get everyone in line, sort of singing from the same song sheet. The problem I have heard is that he's kind of a reluctant referee here. He doesn't really care how things pass through Congress as long as they find a way to get through his desk. So right now, Republicans in leadership seem to be chasing their tail, trying to come up with a strategy right now.
I'm writing down reluctant referee. That's a really great way to describe it. Another topic, of course, huge on the Hill here. People are watching this bipartisan ban on TikTok. Trump evoked it, right? So how are lawmakers reacting to, right, his extension that he granted to the Chinese-owned company? And I think he walked out of that press conference yesterday, and what did he say? I'm a big fan of TikTok or something?
I mean, absolutely. It basically helped him win the campaign just a few months ago. But look, Republicans up here, they're not fans of TikTok. A lot of them supported this bill. They think it is a threat to national security. They think that it is poisoning the minds of young people and that they're collecting data on Americans. Law enforcement has actually said that they are indeed doing that. And so they passed this law seeking to push the company to sell to an owner that is not going to be passing on, Americans' information to a foreign adversary, perhaps an American businessman. That has not happened, and yet Donald Trump has moved forward saying he's not going to enforce this law. I mean, we saw Speaker Johnson and Senate Intelligence Committee Chairman Tom Cotton, who has a lot of sway in the party, come out on Sunday morning and say that this law needs to be upheld. Trump ignored them. He's giving the company more time, even though there is no indication that they're going to follow through and actually sell. One last thing I'll mention on this, Kana, and that is, despite Trump doing this, you don't hear much criticism up here on Capitol Hill, and that tells you everything you need to know about the Republican posture with this administration back in the White House.
And what more do we know about, the first 3 days of Trump back in the White House signal about his team's view of Capitol Hill so far? I mean, they really hit the ground running.
Well, they hit the ground running, but a lot of things that they did privately annoyed lawmakers up here or made them concerned in some way. And I think what it tells us is that the Trump administration really views Capitol Hill as, frankly, subservient to Donald Trump and his agenda and the mandate that he feels he was given from voters. And that's not just in TikTok, where he went against Republicans. There's a lot of things that he did in the first, 48 hours, whether it's, pardoning a whole bunch of January 6, rioters, even people who had attacked police officers. That was something a lot of Republicans didn't think he would do, didn't want him to do. He issued at least one executive order on energy that they were actually asking him to hold off on for budgetary reasons. They were trying to, it's a little bit complicated, Kana, but basically they thought if he held off, it could help them in passing the tax bill up here. He didn't actually listen up on to that either. And yet at the same time, like I said, a lot of these Republicans, while they're concerned privately, they're not coming out and saying so. And again, that just tells you that they're very much going to get in line with Donald Trump, which shouldn't surprise us all given that he won and he is the reason they kept the House, and he's a lot of the reason why they flipped the Senate. Kana.
All right, Rachel Bade there on Capitol Hill. Our thanks to you as always.